These 4-star artifact sets are really good, and I was using them as fodder to get yet another defense roll. And you might be too. But don't worry, it's not too late. After AR-45, it can be easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to have 5-star artifacts on your characters. And the sentiment comes from the countless guides online that tell you that you need to have the highest stats possible, or feel the wrath of the abyss. And while I would say that it is true for your main DPS, there are 2 4-star artifact sets that can actually be pretty good on your support characters, even in late game content. These 2 are the Exiles and the Instructor set. And while I could tell you that you should look for good pieces on these 2 sets all I want, you want to know what makes them so good. So let's start with the Exile set. The 2-piece passive gives a pretty standard 20% energy recharge. But the 4-piece is where it gives you a lot of value. When the wearer uses their elemental burst, regenerates 2 energy for all party members, excluding the wearer, once every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. While this might seem a little underwhelming, especially since a Favonius weapon can do pretty much the same thing, they both have their differences. A Favonius weapon can generate 3 white particles. Each of these particles can give the on-field character 2 energy and 1.2 energy for all the off-field characters. Like most elemental particles that you collect, they are affected by a character's energy recharge stat. The Exile set, on the other hand, isn't affected by a character's ER stats, so it will always be 6 energy. Considering how a character's ER needs can change from situation to situation, combining the Exile set with a Favonius weapon can help a lot with the more energy-hungry characters, and allow a little more flexibility in the ER stats. So, who can use this set best? I suppose I will start with the inspiration for this topic, and probably the character who benefits most from this set, Goro. Goro is often on teams that are very burst dependent, with both Noelle and Ito losing out on a lot of damage without their elemental burst. Additionally, since the defense buff Goro gives is based on his talent level and not his stats, using the Exile set only means losing out on his personal damage. This is also a pretty good option for Bennett. Since the buff from Bennett's burst scales on base attack, meaning only his weapon and level, you will mostly lose out on his personal damage and some extra healing. The biggest loss would be the Noblesse Oblige 4-piece passive, but the extra energy can help make up for that in the long run. Since Bennett is often paired with the pretty energy-hungry Zhengling, the Exile can also help with her energy needs.
Teamwork is dreamwork!
This is also a really nice set on Farazan. It can help her with her own energy needs before C6, as well as some of her more energy-hungry allies such as Zhao. Much like Bennett, the buff Farazan provides scales on base attack, so the lower stats from the 4-star artifact sets won't affect her support capabilities. Moving on to the Instructor set, the 2-piece set gives 80 elemental mastery. However, the 4-piece set is once again where things get interesting. When the wearer triggers an elemental reaction, all party members' elemental mastery is increased by 120 for 8 seconds. However, the wearer does need to be on field when the reaction is triggered. While some characters can buff party elemental mastery, the Instructor set is the only artifact set that can buff EM for the whole team. Since EM is used to calculate damage when you trigger an elemental reaction, the Instructor set can be really good on most reaction-based teams. So who is this set good on? Starting with Yao Yao, Dendro teams tend to like a lot of EM, especially Bloom and Hyper Bloom teams. If you can afford to worry less about Yao Yao's healing abilities, and you already have somebody else on the Deepwood Memory set, the instructor set can be a viable option. Using this set on Yao Yao, Cookie's Hyper Blooms went from hitting 16,000 to 17,000. Speaking of Cookie, she can also make use of this set when in a support role. As I mentioned, Dendro teams tend to like having a lot of EM. And while Bloom and Hyper Bloom benefit the most, Spread and Aggravate teams don't mind a little extra EM. Mona can also use the instructor set. She's already a very good support character that can fit into a lot of reaction-based teams. With the instructor set, she can buff allies for some big showcase numbers, or be used as an on-field driver in Bloom and Hyper Bloom teams. In the same vein as Mona, Diona can also use the instructor set along with the Elegy of the End, which I definitely have, as you can see, to buff allies in damage showcases. Despite the lower stats you get from 4-star artifacts, these two sets can provide a lot of value to a team, even in some of the game's most difficult content, with the only real trade-off being losing out on some of the equipped character's personal damage, which can be made up from the team-wide buffs provided. While it isn't necessary to find and build these sets, they are far beyond the value of most 4-star artifact sets, and going forward, I will be keeping a lookout for nice pieces. So this video was a little bit different than normal, but I had fun. Although, something feels off. Oh, that's it. And I still don't have Farina. Much better. I hope that this video was informative. I would also like to thank you for watching. As always, this video took a really long time to make. So if you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps. I am trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and generally nerdy things, you might like it here. Once again, I would like to thank you so much for watching, and with that, I will see you in the next video. Additionally, since Goro's defense buff, since the getting tongue-tied and tongue-twisted. Lovely. That is exactly what I wanted. Okay. I suppose I will start with the inspiration for this topic. Okay, redoing paragraph 9. Redoing paragraph 9 because I deleted it. I'm so mad at myself right now. The pain is real. Blah, 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 blah. Moving on to the instructor set. The poo.
Is this retribution?